UK will veto Donald Trump's bid to let Russia back into the G7 as there is no evidence of changed behaviour since Putin annexed the Crimea.
Here's a summary of the article.
Boris Johnson will veto any attempt by Donald Trump to bring Russia back into the G7, Downing Street said today. Mr. Trump said over the weekend that he will postpone a G7 summit from this month to the autumn amid the coronavirus turmoil, despite previously suggesting it would be a good symbol that things were getting back to normal. Mr. Trump told reporters on Air Force One as he returned to Washington from Florida that the current makeup of the group was very outdated and did not represent what's going on in the world. Decisions on G7 membership need to be made unanimously by all G7 leaders. Russia was removed from the G7 group of nations following its annexation of Crimea, and we are yet to see evidence of changed behavior that would justify its readmittance. Mr. Trump postponed the G7 after German Chancellor Angela Merkel's office said she would not attend unless the coronavirus was more under control. Mr. Trump announced in March he was cancelling the summit because of the pandemic and that the leaders would stage a video conference instead, but he then switched course, saying a week ago that he was again planning to host a face-to-face meeting.
This post received a score of 120,000, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Presidential decree to regulate UK coming up.
Maybe we can join Canada as a threat to national security.
Economically far-right MPs like Steve Baker, who called for Cummings to go, want a version of Brexit which sells out Britain to America wholesale. Cummings' plan for Brexit, on the other hand, is a new CANZ-UK alliance. Cummings isn't afraid to stand up to America and genuinely believes Britain should do so for its own best interests. Cummings is obviously still an utter reprobate, who, if he weren't fractionally better than the alternative, I'd have been happy to see go.
Fuck, are you actually going to make me want to keep Cummings? I feel dirty. And not in a good way.
Join the club. I feel dirty just typing this stuff.
We need to make sure he cuts his ties from companies manipulating the public first. I want him to publicly state he has no connection to Emerdata. They're fighting tooth and nail to keep him, and I think your comment is sort of a part of that. Someone else can quite easily take his place. His comment wasn't totally understanding.
He is absolutely the scariest man in Britain because he knows how to use data tools to manipulate people. My comment wasn't intended to offer support for him, merely to point out that he is preferable to the alternative if you don't want the UK to be the next Puerto Rico. Under normal circumstances he would have been sacked last week, and I highly suspect that a large part of why he wasn't is because he has leverage over the Prime Minister. That in itself is a scary thought.
Oh, put a smile on me, that response. My bad, I saw the whole chain of comments going down a dark tunnel. We're basically a puppet nation now, right? And we've got to sit here and enjoy the ride as best we can. I guess the same can be said for America.
Trump is just going to quit the G7, just like he quit everything else up to this point. Putin and Trump, the new G2.
This is exactly what I was thinking. His supporters use this as a badge of honor and say all of the other countries are jealous of the US and we're getting a better deal. But when we are in the company of countries like China, Russia, and North Korea, there is a fucking problem.
It's so laughable that anyone would be jealous of the US right now. Yet in the minds of that 40% of America, we were laughed at for 8 years with Obama, and now we're king of the world again. I hate how detached they are.
I guess they missed the part where world leaders literally laughed in Trump's face.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.